This episode of Techzilla is sponsored by JackThreads.
Todd, the suffering Vikings fan, emailed us with a question about upgrading his gaming PC. He says, I have a 4-year-old Dell Studio XPS with a Core i7-920, non-overclockable. I upgraded the RAM to 12 gigs, added an HD 6871 gig card, a SATA 3 card, and a SATA 3 128 gigabyte SSD. Excellent. I've noticed some chugging in my games and just wondered if now is the time to get a new PC and add in the SSD and GPU. Any suggestions on what would be a good upgrade? Todd, the suffering Vikings fan.
Totally. I have that same CPU, although mine is overclockable, and fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it. I think you had a system too that ran the same
Core
CPU as well.
i7-920.
Now, the one thing I noticed right off the bat was that graphics card. It is over 3 years old, and if I were to upgrade a single part in that system, it would be that first.
Yeah.
I'm currently running, since I've had my computer now for about 4 years, about every year I find myself as a self-acknowledged PC gamer, I have to upgrade that card. So the last one I ended up going with was the NVIDIA 680, the GTX 680 series. And it is literally, it's been a 2x jump in performance each time. I think the last time around it was specifically a game that got me to upgrade. I think it was Far Cry 3. And just to be able to run it at full quality, at over 1080p resolution on my monitor, I needed more horsepower to do that. Now, if you're willing to turn down the graphic settings on the games you're playing, keep the current card you have until you're ready to do a full upgrade on your system. But you know, other than that, there are some great places you can go to check out, parts and graphics cards for an upgrade, or if you want to build a whole new box.
Seriously, you've got time left in that CPU, especially if you're gaming on a 1080p monitor. A 1080p monitor does not exhibit a lot of challenges for the latest models of GPUs. It's kind of funny. Now, these charts are getting a little dated, right, because they're from the CPU charts of 2012. But if you go to Tom's Hardware, and this is like 3D Mark 11, synthetic 3D benchmark. And so this was like the latest Core i7-3960X Sandy Bridge E. That was their super expensive $1,000 part from a while back. And look at that. There's the Intel Core i7-920, 6251 versus 6737. A difference, yes. A huge difference, no. I'm with Robert. Upgrade the GPU, because you're definitely going to want to upgrade the GPU if you move to a new CPU. Upgrade the GPU now, and that gives you an upgrade path if you do decide to upgrade the CPU in the future. But I'd say the CPU ain't your problem. I would also say, have you cleaned up your system? You're not going to defrag an SSD, but if you were running on a regular hard drive, I'd say defrag your regular hard drive. Have you reinstalled? Do you have the latest drivers installed? Have you cleaned up your system lately? Are you running out of space on your SSD? These are all things to check that will impact performance on regular computing usage, but will be profoundly noticeable on games. But yeah, I mean, well, the crufty hard drive will mostly slow down loading new games. It won't actually impact the performance of the game, but do yourself a favor, make sure your drivers are up to date, clean things up, update the GPU, and wait for it.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the SSD is being used as a boot drive, and if it's not, that's something you probably want to do now, because the benefit is you're going to get incredibly faster boot times, and it's going to make the system overall feel a lot snappier, and you can still use the regular hard drive not only to install programs to, but you can also use that just as external storage or a D drive, so to speak. So,
more storage.
Totally, but it's the graphics card that's holding you back right now, especially if you're looking at some of the latest game titles, and any of the newer cards out there will be able to get you up to speed. I'm gazing longingly at the GTX 770 GeForce card from NVIDIA for about $440, which may or may not be within your price range. It's hard to say, but hey, if you can swing it though, go for the 780, which gets you up into the about almost $700 range, unfortunately, but that would be a monster card that would probably last you a couple of years.
Fellas, it's time to upgrade your wardrobe, and you can do it with style at JackThreads. JackThreads has quickly become the #1 online shopping destination for guys. Here's why. You can save up to 80% on all the style and fall wardrobe items because full price is for suckers. They serve up killer contemporary and street apparel, accessories, and gadgets from brands like Converse, Penguin, and Nixon. Shopping is stupid simple, and all styles are curated so buyer's remorse just doesn't happen. And as a JackThreads member, if you refer a friend to JackThreads, you get a $10 shopping credit for each buyer that you refer. Plus, as a viewer of Techzilla, you can skip the membership waitlist and get instant access at www.signup.jackthreads.com/Techzilla.